Chris and Cash podcast.
You beat me to it. Chris and Cash show.
We had an actual awesome 17 minutes of show last week, but it was actually probably profanity and racist filled. Wasn't us, by the way.
It was alcohol induced, by the way.
No, some of the people would say those things sober, but
that's true.
they weren't like trying to be. There wasn't a lot of vehemence behind it. It was just, but we had a great talk about the top 10 baseball, who's your best players.
By the way, it is Friday, July 29, 2016. Had to get
yes,
that
it
in
is.
there.
Yes, it is. We were away last week in North Conway, where we were doing our live podcast. But like I said, we shut it down.
Well, the thing is, too, like, people kept showing up. Like, I think, who was Brad and Maddie, like, the last ones that showed up, I think?
I think so.
Anyway, regardless. We were going to try to do a live show, and it just ended up being a fiasco. It was only about 17 or 18 minutes.
Yeah, but when you're trying to do it with, instead of 2 people, 7, it gets a little hairy.
Yeah.
A little dicey with one mic. We're all making out. Not really.
No, I wasn't.
No, I wasn't.
Let's put it this way, folks. I went to bed the earliest Friday night, and I think I went to bed at like 10 past 3 in the morning. And I think I was the first one to bed. Actually, no. James was the first one to bed.
I was supposed to go canoeing at 8 a.m. I went to bed at 4:30 something. It's like, son of a... Adrian Beltre, future Hall of Famer, better than Jeter. That was on last week's podcast, too.
By the way...
He is better than Jeter.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, probably.
I know he probably won't get the accolades and recognition of being better than Jeter, but he is. All around, he's he's a fielder. He's
more power.
He's more power. More celebration. More ability.
Actually, I think Jeter
more ability to hurt Native Americans. It's like Jacoby Ellsbury. Don't say that.
No, I think no. That was Mike Cameron, not Beltre.
No, Beltre knocked in a Jacoby Ellsbury one year and like cracked his ribs.
Oh, you know what it was? They moved Ellsbury to left.
They like bumped by accident and Ellsbury like died.
Yeah, they signed like a 50-year-old.
They had to like have a shaman come out and do a like ritual, and he came back to life.
No, they signed like a 50-year-old Mike Cameron to play center, and they moved Ellsbury to left, and I couldn't understand that at the time.
Yeah, it made no sense. Well, Cameron supposedly was like the greatest athlete ever. They're like, he can dunk, I'm like, so.
Right, in 2000, not 2010.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, he could dunk in high school. He's a decent-sized dude. I mean, he's probably a good athlete. Good for him. Also, not to be rude, it's baseball. Not everyone's athletic.
Sit on this for a second, though. It's like that scene in Kingpin where Randy Quaid's like, man, it's kind of intimidating being in the presence of all these great athletes. And the bowlers, they're all like smoking, like eating donuts and like stuff. That's what I mean. That's kind of what baseball is.
Yeah. I'm not even being rude to baseball. I'm not saying they're not great athletes or that the hand-eye coordination in baseball is phenomenal.
The hardest
thing to do is hit a baseball.
Hardest thing in sports to do is hit a 98-mile-per-hour fastball.
Right? Well, how about a devastating changeup, a home run, by the way? Odor just hit a home run.
Odor? I call him Odor.
Odor. By the way, he got suspended less than the guy that got punched. Is that right?
No, it was Jose Batista.
Yeah, didn't he punch Batista?
Yeah.
And he got suspended fewer games than Batista got for getting punched in the face?
I can't remember.
Isn't that how it worked out? I was like, why did the guy that threw the punch get suspended less?
I have no idea.
Why was there fewer games added to...
Maybe it's because he was instigated it. I don't remember. Sit on this for a second, though. I was thinking about this the other day.
Depends what it is. It's a nice cushion, sure.
Because the Red Sox got swept by Detroit earlier this week. I was thinking about this. You realize at one time, they had both Victor Martinez and Adrian Beltre.
Yeah.
And let them both walk.
And they were both all-stars and they let them walk.
Well, they let Adrian Beltre walk for Kevin Youkilis, which I still can't figure out.
At the time, though, Youkilis was a highly, highly touted player. And he was good for a few years.
Yeah, but he was also 33, and Beltre was, I think, younger and better.
Are you sure?
I think so.
I think Beltre is older than Youkilis.
No. I think Beltre was born in 79. I think Uke was born in 77.
You sure?
I'm pretty sure. We can look it up. We got a computer. We are going to be talking about the Sox tonight. We'll be getting into some Patriots. I'll be honest with you, there's not a lot of hockey or basketball to talk about.
If you go on ESPN right now, not that I ever usually go there just for the podcast to look stuff up.
Right.
But the NHL doesn't even show up on the radar right now. You have to literally go searching for it with like other sports.
Yeah.
It's like you said, what is it?
It's like the redheaded stepchild of sports.
Second-class citizen.
Second-class citizen, right.
Completely.
It's a ginger. That's what it is.
Has no soul.
So, Chris is looking up Youkilis, but I'm almost positive.
Youkilis is 37.
Alright, so March of 79. So I was a little bit off.
I want to say Beltre is pretty close to the same age. Not that I'm not... I think, obviously, Beltre's a way better player.
Okay, so Adrian Beltre is literally a few weeks younger.
Yeah, they're like I didn't think it was an age.
Still, he's younger.
Oh, come on.
But how old's Victor Martinez now?
Oh, he's got to be probably around the same age.
I don't know.
35-ish, 36.
The man's still hitting.
Well, he could always hit. That was not a problem.
No, Victor.
I know, I spelled it wrong. Hold on. Just typo. Oh, he's older.
Yeah, Victor
38.
No, he's 38 years old now. No, he's 37.
Gonna be
he's going to be 38 in December. Yeah, regardless, when the Red Sox had him, he was 31, 32 years old. Should have hung on to him. I know they won a World Series without them, but still.
Well, the World Series in 2013 was one of those things. I don't want to call it a fluke because it wasn't a fluke.
They caught lightning in a bottle.
People keep saying it's a fluke. It's not a fluke.
No, when you lead wire to wire, it's not a fluke.
Right, and they had a great team. They had a great SRS, great numbers all over the base.
All the advanced stats back it up. I
Right,
mean, there was
OPS plus for all their players.
There was nothing fluky about it. They won just about, for a team that talented and ended up winning 97 games, their record in one-run games and stuff like that was where it should have been.
Right, they basically...
Their differential was where it should have been.
All their players, basically, they were healthy, and they all had very good years. None of them had a career year when I went back and checked, but they all had like their second or third best year ever in the same year.
They all randomly had a really good year. And
right.
I mean, let's be honest, they were lucky. They lucked into that. I think, Charrington signed Napoli and Victorino that offseason.
Basically, everybody he signed worked out.
I get that, but those signings right there scream we just want to be respectable and win like 85 games and be competitive, especially after the absolute disaster it was the previous year with Bobby B. And everything just worked out the way it was supposed to. Lackey came back healthy and pitched like the guy that Epstein had signed back in 2010. Lester had a good year. Who else was on that team? Koji was like an Asian Mariano for the last 2 months of the season and postseason. He was absurd. Like you could argue he pitched as well in the second half. He was as good as Mariano ever was in that stretch.
Yeah,
I'm going there. That splitter was
the issue I have with that.
No. That splitter was unhittable for 3 months.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but that's when you make fun of me for being like, oh, Tracy McGrady was a GOAT level player for 1 year. Well, he was, but for 1 year. So sure, Koji for like that brief moment in time for a 2 to 3 month stretch was like absolutely absurd. Like I remember he had a stretch that was like you said, one of the best stretches you're ever going to see. Difference is Mariano Rivera did that for like 15 years.
Well, yeah. I'm not comparing the two.
I understand what you're saying.
It's not even close.
It's like when I said that.
By the way, Mariano Rivera was the guy of those Yankee teams, not Jeter. I would say Jeter was probably 2 or 3.
No, I agree with you. I always tell you
Mariano was the.
It's not because they're a Yankee. I don't hate Derek Jeter. He's just vastly overrated. He really is. Very good player for a long, long time on championship teams. Never the best player on his team. Never probably the best hitter on his team. Great hitter for average. Okay, played forever, so he's going to have a lot of hits. That's natural. When you have a great average and you play forever, you're going to have a lot of hits. Mariano Rivera was far and away the best player in that whole span.
Yes.
As a player, he is much better than Jeter. He is.
Well, one's an everyday player, one's a pitcher, but I understand your point.
You know what I'm saying.
Yes.
Mariano Rivera is the Jerry Rice of closers. Like, there's no argument. It's like Mariano Rivera and everyone else. It's Jerry Rice and everyone else. It's not like that for a lot of positions and a lot of players. Mm-hmm. I mean, we had an argument the other day, like, who's the best hitter ever? Who's the best player ever? Barry Bonds. You're talking Willie Mays.
Yeah, they did that top
Hank
10.
Aaron.
I honestly, the top 10 that they came up with, I didn't really have...
We didn't have an issue with it. We had an issue with a couple of the spottings, where they were placed on the list.
Yeah, I mean, they still had Ruth number 1 on that list, I believe, which was... That's right.
Right, because the other list before that, I forget, it was an individual guy came out. He had Ruth 4. I was like, how can Ruth be 4?
Which is ridiculous. I've never seen... But prior to that, I never saw Babe Ruth lower than 2 on any
2 or 3. You can't have him.
Not even 3. I never saw him that low.
I could say you could make an argument for Barry Bonds or Willie Mays over Ruth, maybe. But that's it. That's it. Who else? Hank Aaron's not better than Babe Ruth. He just played forever.
Is Barry Bonds too low at 5?
Personally, I think so. I thought Ted was at 5 or 6.
No, Ted Williams was 4.
And then Barry was 5?
Look at. We're not talking about hitting here. Barry Bonds was a better all-around player than Ted Williams was. I'm going to say it.
I agree.
That's unpopular, but it's fact.
No, I agree. I think Ted Williams was the best hitter.
Ted Williams was an average at best fielder My dad saw him play. He said he was meh. Okay.
But probably below average.
Right around average.
Put it this way,
Ted Williams is better defensive outfielder than Manny Ramirez was.
I was just gonna say he's a little bit better. He's the difference between Manny and average. Okay, Manny wasn't as bad as people say. Manny was slightly below average with a cannon. And once in a while he played
Manny had a good arm. Actually.
Yeah, and then Ted was a better defender than Manny, and he tried more and cared more probably, but he wasn't. I don't even think he was average.
I don't know if I can't even say that he cared more. Ted Williams would be out in left field.
But I mean cared more than Manny. Manny was like, I'm going to take a piss because there's 2 outs.
Ted Williams would be out in left field, like, practicing his swing between pitches, like, with his glove on. And, Ted Williams, he wasn't the fastest guy. He didn't steal a lot of bases. I probably had, like, 20 as well.
Well, that's why I had Ty Cobb way up there. People don't understand.
Cobb was like 8th on that list.
Yeah, Ty Cobb stole 900-something bases. When he retired, and for a very long time,
leader in average, leader in hits, leader in steals,
Stolen
leader in
bases.
triples, leader in he led everything.
He was a pretty good fielder.
I know I agree, but I think I'm what?
What else is the guy gonna do other than pitch?
I don't know. He's pretty good at murdering people. He pistol whipped a guy to death once.
I understand he was a racist. He hated everybody. That's the thing I have about the Hall of Fame. Like, they're not letting get steroid guys in. I know it's different, and they're not letting Chulis Joe Jackson in, and they're not letting Pete Rose in probably till he dies.
They're never going to give him the satisfaction of getting in while he's alive, and that's wrong.
But Ty Cobb's in. Babe Ruth's in. These people are not great people. At least
the media protected Babe Ruth.
Right, but at least the NFL doesn't have a character clause. They really don't give a shit what you did. Okay? They really don't.
We're going to try to not swear. Once in a while, we might...
Yeah, they don't care what you did. You could murder somebody. You could rape somebody. You could kill... They care about what happened on the field.
Aaron Hernandez will get in the Hall of Fame someday.
He probably will. Just because they don't care about anything other than on-the-field exploits. Okay? And he'll be like a footnote in the Hall, like the most diverse and versatile player ever. Like
he only did it for 3 years, though.
Baseball has this character clause, but then some of the guys are in that...
And it's hypocritical.
Right, and some of them... It doesn't make sense. That's all. You gotta let them all in.
The media never covered for an athlete, even Peyton Manning, like they did Babe Ruth. I remember I think it was 1925, Babe Ruth missed like the first couple of months of the season. They said he had like a stomach, like a bellyache because he ate too many hot dogs or something. Like, no, he had syphilis. He had an STD. They didn't say that in 1925. There was no ESPN in 1925. They
probably shooting acid up his Johnson to get it cleared. That's what they used to do.
Or taking a bunch of penicillin, whatever.
Yeah, they used to shoot acid up the junk too.
I don't know if you could take penicillin orally back then. One guy who wasn't in the top 10, where I think you can make a case, and this guy always gets overlooked, and I don't know why. Rogers Hornsby.
Well, he's a great player.
I think he was 358 career.
I got a question for you.
For a 5-year stretch in the 20s, he hit 405. I'm talking about 5 years, half a decade. He averaged over 400.
I have a question for you.
And he had power for the time. I think he hit over 350 homers for his career. And those parks were as big as Yellowstone. They were huge.
I understand that. I have a question for you, though.
Yeah, go ahead.
What's the problem with rating baseball players?
It's really hard to do.
Why?
Because there's just so many of them. There's so many positions. There's so many errors.
The game's been around forever.
Right.
Like you said, there's just so many because... It could be like, this guy played in 1890 and was like the most dominant player ever when they were playing with a hacky sack. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just so different. It's so hard to be like...
He's consistently never in like the top 10 or 15, and I just want to know
I think
why.
he's usually top 20.
He's always top 20. I'm just saying, like...
Well, I think that's like an Elgin Baylor. Like, well, where does Elgin Baylor fit? He should be top 10. Nah. You know what?
Elgin's top 15.
Even
still,
top 15,
even
20.
now, even now.
I don't know if I'd put him top 15. I don't think I have him top 15. I have him in my top 20.
Like,
I haven't made a list recently.
Like 13, 14, 15 for me. Like that whole like areas like Jerry West.
I'm getting Jerry West, Dr. J.
West,
I have Oscar.
Doc,
I have Oscar right.
Garnett.
Right after Moses Malone, I have
Garnett,
Oscar.
You know,
KG. I have those guys higher.
Havlicek, like
those guys.
Those guys are right in there.
Havlicek behind Baylor, but I have those guys higher than Baylor.
I have Baylor higher than Havlicek, but I have Havlicek right around, if not higher than.
Right, but I'm talking about
Dr. J.
Hakeem Olajuwon is number 11 for me. Moses Malone is 12. I ain't fitting Elgin in before Oscar, before Dr. J, before West.
I have Oscar top 10. You don't. I know we differ there. By the way, you can never take an ESPN like top whatever seriously because they had Scottie Pippen higher than John Havlicek on their NBA one. That is sacrilege. The funny thing is too, they're like Scottie Pippen once 6 champion. He was 6-0 in the finals. I'm like, yeah, Havlicek was 8-0, and he was a better player. What's your point? He was a Finals MVP.
I don't. Whatever
by the way,
is getting on me. Jordan was 6-0 in the finals. Okay, so you're giving him credit for not making it the other years?
No. I'm not saying that.
No, I know, but
they said that as an argument for Pippen, and I was like, okay, fine. Havlicek was a better player, and he was 8-0.
No, but it bothers me that people care that they were whatever no anyways. I'd rather a guy be 4 for 8 in the finals than 3 for 3-0. Like if a guy's 4 and 4 in the finals, that's better than 3-0.
Let me ask you this, and I know what you're gonna say, and you're right.
I don't want him losing earlier.
What's better, Hondo going 8-0 in the finals, or Bill Russell going 11 for 12?
11 for 12.
Right.
I don't care that he lost one, because you know what?
He was hurt.
Right. And it's not even that. It's like, so you want to give the guy credit for making fewer actual finals appearances and losing earlier. Like Michael Jordan, yes, he didn't make the playoffs, so I can be like, well, he didn't lose in the playoffs that year. He didn't make it.
It's the Joe Montana, Tom Brady
thing.
All over.
And that's the thing too, is Michael Jordan had a very similar career to Joe Montana. Not completely, but hear me out. Absolutely stacked conferences for certain periods of their career. They're undefeated in the finals each, right?
Finals Super Bowl, right.
Same difference.
Yep.
And the championships. But they lost earlier on because they had harder competition earlier on. So there was times where they lost before. Then when they made the finals, guess what? Both of them played cupcakes. Joe Montana had easier Super Bowl opponents than he did NFC Championship game opponents, and Jordan usually had easier finals opponents than he had when he was losing in the Eastern Conference.
Sometimes, not always.
I'm not.
91, that Laker team. I mean, Magic was getting older, even though he was still very good. That Laker team wasn't that great.
Laker team was 4 or 5 years past their peak.
Right. The next year they beat Portland. Good team.
Not great.
The Phoenix team in 93 was loaded.
Yeah, but I'll tell you right now, if you look at
Jordan, the Suns were the best team in basketball in 93. Jordan stole that series. And the Suns also played that finals without Cedric Ceballos. Had he played, the Phoenix might have beaten them.
Again, regardless. Then they play the Seattle Supersonics.
64-win team in a terrible league, watered-down league.
And then Utah was a really good team.
Utah was better in, I thought, 97 than 98.
But I'm going to tell you right now, if you could give me the chance of playing LeBron James's finals teams,
Spurs and all them, right?
Versus the Golden State Warriors and all these teams, versus Michael Jordan's, I'm picking Michael's every day. If you gave me the option of playing Tom Brady's Super Bowl competitors versus Joe Montana's, I'm taking Joe Montana's every day.
The funny thing is, too, that Montana played...
I'm not picking on these guys for going undefeated. I'm saying people take it out of context.
Montana played actually really good quarterbacks in the Super Bowl, just not great teams. Like
like Elway, but the team sucked.
He beat Dan Marino, he beat Elway, he beat Boomer Esiason.
But these teams weren't good.
I get that, I know.
Great quarterbacks, are very good quarterbacks. Boomer's a borderline Hall of Fame. He won't get in. He's not in
regular season MVP, went to a Super Bowl, has a bunch of passing yards.
Not going to get in, though.
Boomer Esiason's a better quarterback than Eli Manning is.
Of course, but Eli's going to get in and Boomer isn't. Boomer's like a guy or two ahead of Drew Bledsoe on the Hall of Fame list. And they're just waiting for that call, and they're never going to get it.
Drew might get in years and years down the road. Maybe, but it's not going to be.
They don't give him the half a ring for being a backup.
I do.
All right? They don't like, oh, yeah, you went to Buffalo, so that's great. Like, no.
By the way, my last point on that Havlicek-Pippen thing. Havlicek was a better player. And Havlicek was also, out of his 3 rings, I'm going to say, out of 3 of his 8 rings, he was the number 1 on those teams. Pippen was never a number 1.
Well,
listen, hear me out.
What do you mean by number 1?
68 and 69, Russell was past his peak, and Havlicek was the best player in those 2 teams.
I agree, but I still think that...
And he was probably the best player in the 74.
As odd as it sounds...
He was Finals MVP.
I still think that Russell might have had a bigger impact.
Russell said himself, by 68 and 69, Havlicek was the best player in the team.
Russell was done.
Havlicek said Havlicek was the best player.
I agree. I understand that, but when it comes to actually playing the games, Russell was still phenomenal.
It's Bill Russell.
Yeah.
We went off on a little bit of a tangent there. We tried to keep it reined in, but we did get into the top 10 in baseball a little bit. Again, I might disagree with a few spots on that list, but overall, I'm not going to argue a ton of it. I think they got the right core guys in there. So
they were around where they should be.
I think Bonds was a better all-around player than Williams was. Williams is the best hitter of all time, I think, all around, when you consider everything.
Well, I don't have Hank Aaron in my top 5.
That's a little ridiculous. I know he played forever, and he has a ton of volume numbers.
I got Babe Ruth.
Yep.
Barry Bonds.
I don't know if I'd have Bonds over Mays.
I have Bonds too. Then I have Willie Mays, Ted Williams, Ty Cobb. That's me. I don't think Hank Aaron was better than any of those guys.
That's not a bad 5.
That's just my opinion.
That's not a bad 5.
I'm not saying Hank Aaron isn't a great player. I'm not trying to take credit away from Hank Aaron. I'm trying to say literally, I don't think he was better than those 5 players.
That's
if we had an all-time draft and I was drafting one of those guys to have their career, I mean, granted, it's hard to say because different eras and home runs and all that crap, but I'm drafting Babe Ruth first because he can pitch for me, he can hit, he's going to hit 1 million home runs.
He'll smoke about 15 Cuban cigars a day, have 45 hot dogs, and bang 3 prostitutes a night.
That's all right. If I can somehow get Barry on my team too, I'll just show him how to take steroids. Then Babe went steroids, 1 million home runs.
Oh, if Babe Ruth took steroids, 73 home runs I think Bonds hit, Babe would hit 85 in April.
Alone.
Yes.
On Tuesdays. You know those crazy baseball stats. This guy's the best hitter on Tuesdays after 7 p.m. against the National League West.
Sounds like
hitting 347. Every baseball stat's like that. It's to the nth degree. It's awesome, but you look up at the, you're like, wait, what?
All right, let's get into the Red Sox. And I'll tell you what, they're only a game and a half back because Baltimore's playing just as bad as they are. They're horrible. Red Sox swept at home by Detroit after splitting floor with the Twins at home. That's a bad homestand. I'm sorry, Chris.
No, it's not bad. It was abysmal.
That's bad. Okay, all right, yes.
Every game...
I was trying to be kind.
Every time we watched a game, whether we were on our trip or when I watched it alone at home...
They were 0-2 up in New Hampshire.
I wanted Farrell fired immediately. And I know that it sounds like, oh, you're blaming the manager. No, I'm blaming the manager because he doesn't know how to manage. I know not every little thing is his fault, but he takes out some pitchers when they're cruising and they're fine.
There is no rhyme or reason
what he does.
Any decision.
He could... Oh, the pitcher has 105 pitches, take him up, but he's cruising. Then the next guy...
We're going to get into
that. Right. My cousin Tom was at the game, did the Build a Poppy night with his son, and he was just saying, he said him and the guy next to each other, they were like, third or fourth inning, they're like, they got to take him out. Every inning, people look at each other like, you got to take him out. It was the Grady Little effect, where people are like, well, he's going to take Pedro out now, right? He's going to take Pedro out now, right? You do that to Farrell once a week.
No, do you know what it feels like, Farrell? It's like he doesn't realize that you're allowed to go to your bullpen before the 5th. It's like there's a rule that my starter has to go 5.
It's like he feels like his starter has to go 5, but can't go more than 6 1/3. You know what I mean? Right. Most nights. He's like, oh, got to pull him.
It's uncanny. I'm not
even going to get in him for last night, pulling Price, whatever. Wasn't a bad decision.
I'm going to get into that. It wasn't a bad decision, but...
You can second guess it, but like Lou Maloney was saying today, that's a normal baseball decision.
It is.
So I want to put my closer in.
He had 109 pitches, but we're going to get into this too, but and I'll get into this later. It just feels like he has no instinct, no feel for a game.
I don't think he does. I don't think he's a good manager.
Why.
I literally think, and this is just a random number because I can't assign truth to this. It's very arbitrary. I think he's probably cost them 4 wins. I think if they had a Terry Francona, they're 4 wins better. That's just my opinion. He has no rhyme or reason, no logic. I don't think he knows how to run a bullpen. He can't. He burns them or doesn't use them. It's the oddest thing in the world. Doesn't know how to take care of a pitching staff when it comes to actually pitching. I think he has no idea when it comes to hitting. He pinch hits the wrong players all the time. That's just my opinion. Can't blame him for everything, but
I think one of Francona's best qualities, and he's doing it in Cleveland now, so it wasn't just the talent that he had in Boston. This Indians team isn't as talented as those Red Sox teams, and he's still in first place, up 6 games. Francona had an uncanny knack for knowing when to pull a pitcher and having the right guy up 2-3 minutes earlier.
That's why I feel like there's games right now where you're looking at the pitcher and Farrell has no one up.
No one up.
And people like my mama going, why isn't anyone warming up? That's when you have a bad manager. Okay? Again, it's the Grady Little Pedro game. I was at a party watching that game in 2003. Okay? Horrible experience for me. One of my worst. It goes,
that sucks.
The Patriots in 07 losing, well, 08.
That's number 1.
Game 7 against the Lakers.
That's number
2. And then
2.
that 03 game against the Yankees. Okay?
Honestly, I'm not even a Red Sox game, and that game just pissed me off.
Right. So I'm sitting there, and me and my friend John, we're sitting there, and we're going, oh, he's got to pull Pedro. He did the sign, and he comes back out.
He struck out Soriano at end the 7th, and he
does the thing that he does. Yep. We're like, pull him.
Mentally checked out.
Comes back out.
Mentally checked out.
Clearly getting dominated. We're like, you got to pull him. Couple hitters later, everyone in the party, girls like, you got to pull him. I mean, clearly it's because they heard other people say it, but and Grady's sitting there going, like he's in a coma. He's not moving. He's not doing nothing. He's looking for sunflower seeds. Doesn't know if it's a Tuesday. Who the hell knows? He has no idea what's going on. That's what Farrell is like most of the time.
What I remember most about that game, Pedro, you knew he hit 100 pitches, which was usually his jackpot. He's gone. Moment back then, just because of He wasn't 99 Pedro anymore. He was still excellent and very good.
Yeah, but he had wear and tear.
Right.
The shoulder.
He struck out Soriano and end the 7th. He did the thing.
That's his thing. I'm out.
I'm out. See you later. I'm hitting the showers. So then Ortiz hits a home run to put him up 5-2.
Game's over.
I'm busting my dad's balls because he's a Yankee fan. He hates the Red Sox. I'm like, this game's over. I was yelling at him. George is gonna fire everybody.
It should have been over, right?
It was over.
There's no reason not to be. How was that bullpen that year?
Hold on. They did a simulation that at that point when Ortiz hit the home run, the chances of the Red Sox losing were less than 1%.
Yeah, it was probably 99.6% Red Sox win.
It was.
Yeah.
The probability.
What? Yeah, well, the chance that they didn't make the playoffs in 2011 was 1 in 17 billion.
Oh, that was bad.
And literally everything, it was 1 in an absurd number.
They had like
300 million.
They had a 9-game playoff lead with 20 games left.
They had to lose all these games. Everyone else had to win. Everything that happened. Everything that possibly, it was these
Not to
things.
mention, Tampa Bay was trailing 7-0 that night.
And then the Red Sox were winning.
Yeah.
And it went down to the last out each what? It was absurd. If you look up the odds on what happened, they did the math and they were this will never happen again.
Tampa Bay hit a home run with 2 outs in the 9th. They were about
and the Red Sox were going to win, and then they lost.
At the very worst, they would have had a playoff.
The Red Sox lost in the 9th.
They would have Lackey in the playoff. That's kind of frightening. That year.
Yeah, but
what I remember most about that 7th game in 03, and then we're going to get into today's Red Sox. This team actually reminds me of the 03 team, just not as good.
The hitting's up there. We've talked about that.
Little went up to Pedro after Ortiz's home run in the top of the 8th and said, "Can you start the 8th?" Because Nick Johnson couldn't hit him, and he was leading off the bottom of the 8th. He goes, "You can't hit him. Go out and get him, and we'll stick with you." And Pedro, he said it, and I agree with him, and he's right. He goes, "I'm a competitor. I'm not going to take myself out of the game. He needs me to." I'm the ace. I'm going to go out there. If
your manager or coach asks you to play a game, you're going to play, right?
Pedro goes, "What am I going to do? Say no?" I said, "Yeah."
Biggest game of your life. Coach or a manager comes up to you and says, "You're going to go back in." What are you going to say?
He's Pedro Martinez. He would never say no in a million years. So he went out and he got Nick Johnson to pop up to Nomar. So 1 out. He was 0-2 on Jeter. And he was 0-2 count on Jeter, and this is always overlooked. Jeter hit one to right field.
It's like a bloop, too.
Trot Nixon corkscrewed himself into the ground. That was an easy out.
It was like a bloop.
It was an easy out. If he turned the right way and went back on the ball, that's an out. So you're talking 2 outs, nobody on with Williams coming up. Now Williams ended up singling to bring in Jeter. It was 5-3. That's when Little goes out. Hideki Matsui's on deck, a guy who owned him that whole season in 03. Pedro just couldn't get him out. He goes out there. That's when he pats him on the...
Question for you. How was that bullpen?
Embry, Timlin, Williamson.
7th, 8th, and 9th right there.
Well, 7/8, depending on lefty, righty, who was coming in the game first, Timlin or Williamson.
But
Timlin or
Embry, Timlin, Williamson, 7th, 8th, and 9th.
They hadn't given up an earned run in, I think, 30 innings at that point.
And it was something like they had a stretch where they retired 30 batters, 30, 40. I have no idea. Some ridiculous amount of batters in a row together.
To this day, I was sitting on the couch saying, "What the F is this guy doing?" And then Posada hit the little bloop to tie the game. And actually, that wasn't a bad pitch. That was just nothing you can do. But he jammed him.
Well, he just got beat. He didn't pitch poorly. He just shouldn't have been out there.
Pedro pitched great that night. He just shouldn't have been out there in the 8th.
I feel like that's Farrell every night, though. You watch him, and you're going, everyone that laymen, people that barely watch the sport but know just enough, are like, why isn't he pulling that guy? And then there's no one warming up, and everyone's just shocked emoji face. You know what I mean? It's like Home Alone.
The screen.
The screen. Everyone's. If you can do that to a manager repeatedly all the time, there's something wrong with that manager.
Mm-hmm. And
how often do you sit there and say, well, Belichick's really screwing this game up today?
Very often. Very rarely. Very rarely.
How often do you do that in most sports?
Belichick did that twice last year, which is really weird.
Right. Belichick had a horrible year.
The Philly game.
There's fewer games.
The Philly game and the Miami game.
Less chance of him to do that because there's fewer games, I guess. But he makes tons of decisions all the time. Most of the time, even if you're going to criticize his decision, it's not blatant where everyone's criticizing him.
And it's calculated. The only time I remember when he was blatantly criticized was 4th and 2 in 09 in Indy, and to this day, I agree with that call.
I feel like John Farrell has no logic. He has no idea what he's doing.
Bill going for the 4th and 2 in Indy made perfect sense. Even now, it still makes sense to me, at least.
I agree with you. Mathematics agrees with you. Everyone agrees.
You pick up whether you give Manning 25 yards or 80 yards,
he was going to make it no matter what.
They were going to score.
If you get your first down, you win the game.
Mm-hmm.
It's that simple.
I think Indy didn't have any timeouts, right? They could have just run the clock out.
I don't remember the exact scenario. I just know that they would have run.
They might have been able to stop the clock once.
They would have run the clock out.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been a game. It was like I saw the odds. Like if they got the first down, they're 99.99 or whatever it was chance to win. Something ridiculous. And if they give the ball to Indy, they were like a 40% chance to win, even if they punted.
Right. The odds were still in Indy's favor.
What is Indy going to do at the end of a game? Just go for it all the way, perpetual fourth down, which I tell you all the time is the worst.
Yep.
You never want to be up 6 points or anywhere between 6 and 4 points. You'd rather be up 3 points in football. Because if you're up between 6 and 4,
instead of
you're going to go for it on fourth down every time.
Right.
If you're up 3 points, the other team's just going to kick a field goal, and you're going to be tied, so it's great. So you don't want to be up 6 to 4 points. It's like the worst in football. It's literally the worst. It just means that the other team's going to go for it on fourth down every time. The game's so easy, they're going to pick it all up, and they're going to score a touchdown and win. That's football.
And they were up 14-10 in that Super Bowl.
Huh.
Moss put them ahead. All right, but we're going to get into, I hope we didn't lose you too much. We are going to get into the Red Sox as currently constituted. By the way, I don't think they're going to do anything big on Sunday at the deadline.
Well, they might be doing stuff tonight, supposedly.
I don't see it. I really
I got a question for you, though. We'll say they make another move, even if it's a medium-sized one.
They're not getting Chris Sale. That's my point.
Well, okay. Just play with me here.
Yeah.
So they make a move.
Okay.
You got a good team.
Okay.
You got enough pitching.
Mm-hmm.
Best hitting team in baseball. You keep losing games. Just fire Farrell.
Preaching to the choir here.
Just fire him.
Right now, I think Lovello would be a better option.
Again, I as a person, John Farrell seems like a great guy. Might be a great pitching coach. I'm sure he's awesome to drink beers with. You know what? And I'm super happy he beat cancer and all that stuff.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. This isn't.
That's the only reason he's managing, though. It's because he beat cancer and they feel bad for him.
I know.
It looks bad. This is the Red Sox I don't like. The Red Sox this year were awesome because they were like, you know what, Panda, you're not playing because you suck.
They're way too image conscious.
You can't sit there to the players and be like, only the best players are going to play this year, regardless of contract, which is a great thing, which is what they've done.
Mm-hmm.
But then at the same time, have a manager who's probably not your best manager on the team manage because it's an image thing.
I know.
Get rid of him. He'll still get paid. Let him be an analyst on ESPN or something.
This is one of the
Come back and manage a pitching coach somewhere else.
You and I always say this, and you're right. You're gonna fire somebody. You got to get somebody as good.
Can't fire him in a vacuum, like we're saying.
But I'm pretty sure they could find someone better. That's my point.
They got the guy on the bench.
Right.
He's next to him.
Lovello.
They could actually be like, all right, Lovello, you're the manager. John Farrell, you're now the pitching coach. Anyone have any problems with that? Great.
Carl Willis is out of a job, though.
No, Carl Willis, I don't care what he does because he obviously is not doing well. You can make him bench coach and do whatever you want.
By the way, that's embarrassing. That's embarrassing that Farrell never has the wherewithal to know that, okay, I should probably have someone up to start this inning, and he doesn't. The guy gives up like 2 singles in a row. Carl Willis has to shuffle out there and talk to the pitcher to buy the reliever time because Farrell didn't have him up.
Well, it would almost be like if Bill Belichick kept having defenses that were the worst against the pass in the league.
He does that every game. He does that every game.
It would almost be like if Bill Belichick had defenses that were constantly the worst against the pass in the league. Oh wait, they did that. Like it happens. Again, though, seriously, no. This is on Farrell.
All right. Farrell. So the Tigers were 25-29 on the road going into that series, and they had lost 7 of 11 on the road. They're not a good road team. They come in and sweep you.
You lost 2 games to the Twins.
Worst team in baseball.
There's no excuse for that.
Worst team in baseball. Well, the worst team in the American League. Atlanta's pretty bad.
You should have been able to sweep the Twins so that you had a cushion.
They'd be in first place right now. Because the Orioles stink. I'm sorry. They're terrible.
You know what the AL is right now? A bunch of pretty good mediocre teams at the top.
The American League should be wide open, especially...
It is wide open.
Kansas City's had a bunch of injuries. I mean, it's really wide open. In the National League, you got Chicago. You have Pittsburgh still lying in the weeds. St. Louis is playing better. Still got the Giants and the Dodgers. You got the Nats. You got the Mets, even though they have a ton of problems. There are better teams in the National League.
Oh, no, we talked about this at the beginning of the season.
We did.
You could literally say the top 3 or 4 teams are in the NL.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Now, the Red Sox side are really hot. At one point...
The Giants have been abysmal since the All-Star
break. At one point, Texas was really hot. But legitimately... The AL's wide open. There's 6 or 7 teams that are pretty good, but they're not great, and they all have stretches where they suck.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, pick it. Who's going to win the AL? I could say Toronto when it would be the best team.
The American League. I tell you, the Indians might have the best rotation. It's all about pitching. They have a manager who knows what he's doing. The Indians are looking good right now.
But would you put money on him with all the teams in the AL?
No.
Excuse me.
No. Detroit's only 6 back.
Oh, technically the Yankees aren't that far back.
Yeah, the Yankees are going to be selling out. The Indians, not even. The Indians have a 4.5 game lead on the Tigers. They're 4-6 in their last 10. Houston's kind of taken a step back. They're 3 games out. Seattle has all this talent every year, and they never do anything. It's actually frustrating. The Angels should not be in last place. And this might be it for Mike Scioscia out there in Anaheim.
The AL, I can't. I'm looking at this. We're looking at the standings right now. I'm looking at the AL, and I'm telling you right now, there's not a team there that I think would win the World Series. That I would predict them to, anyways.
No.
I'm not saying that they can't, that no teams will, but
Kansas City has too many injuries. They're not getting back.
I mean,
They're too hurt.
Like we said, I would literally sit here and tell you the Giants, the Nats, and the Cubs are all definitely better than any team in the AL.
Yes. Yes.
And the Mets probably were before injuries.
Man, they had good pitching. Look at the Marlins; they're only 5 back.
Yeah.
And they went out and just got Andrew Cashner from the Padres.
And the Cubs have slowed down ridiculously.
Yeah, and they're still about what 22
over 500.
Yeah. Differential still 166.
And like you said, the Cardinals, the differential is 96. There's
The
1, 2,
Cardinals
3,
are coming.
4.
They're playing
There
better.
are 5 teams with a differential over 50 in the NL. There are 4 in the AL. No one in the AL is over 84. That's the highest differential. That's Cleveland. Sox is second with 81. In the NL, the Nats have a differential of 113. The Cubs have a differential of 166. The Cards have a differential of 96. It's absurd.
Mm-hmm.
The NL's just better.
Yep.
This is what it is.
So that was a horrible loss last night, to say the least. So they got a. Here's what happened. I went to bed. They were up in the 4th. I went to bed. They were up 1-0. Price had 1 bad inning in the 5th. I fell asleep for a while.
I fell asleep after the 5th.
But I woke up in the bottom of the 7th.
I fell asleep after the 5th. I woke up. They had lost. They were talking about losing and blah blah blah.
I told my mother because she just retired, so she randomly wakes up in the middle of the night, watches TV for an hour, then goes back to sleep.
Sounds awesome.
It does. I can't wait. I hope I live to do that. If Hillary wins, I'm never going to be able to retire. That's a story for another day.
Completely disagree with you. Not that I'm a big Hillary fan. You know that, but I'm voting Gary Johnson.
I think they all suck. I might vote Johnson too.
Left nut or right nut? Nah, I'm going with the Johnsons.
Dude, libertarian might be the best way to go. But anyway, I told Ma, the Red Sox have a 1-0 lead. She's like, Price hasn't blown it? And I'm like, nah, he actually looks like he's pitching well. So she watched the bottom of the 8th, the top of the 9th, and the bottom of the 9th.
I was shocked you got out of the 5th, though.
So, all I hear from... Yeah, I know. All I hear when the Red Sox lose the game, my mother, son of a beep, effing Farrell, and then she shut the TV off. That's what I go through like every week now.
It's Farrell, though. But again, this is a second guess because
we're gonna second guess. We're gonna see both sides. If you're Mookie, you can't get picked off in the top of the 8th. This is horrible base running. First of all,
regardless, they should have won.
I understand that they needed an insurance run, but
still,
that was just bad.
They should have won anyways.
One encouraging thing if you're a Red Sox fan last night.
Price pitched well.
They gave him a lead, and he finally held it the whole game, or almost the whole game. Now, he threw 109 pitches after 8. Should Farrell let him go out for the 9th? That's the question that I had after last night, because his high pitch count this year is 114. He threw that.
I put him out.
June 3rd against Toronto.
Chris O'Keefe is your manager. I put him out.
Why not let him? But here's the thing.
Start the inning.
He never goes on his gut. He always has.
He likes people to have clean innings to start.
I get that. But
I don't agree with it, but that's what he does.
Look at
a good amount of times.
His high was 114. Let him start the 9th with Ziegler warming up. Why not do that?
Oh, you don't have to preach to me.
I understand. No, I'm not asking you directly. I'm asking like in general, hypothetically.
I understand.
Price got better as the game went on.
He got stronger.
He's been doing that most of the year. The deeper he goes into the game, typically the better he does. So I would have.
His ERA is finally paltry 4.26.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But he was over 6 for a while.
He's going to be on the floor before you know it.
He will. He'll be in the high 3s. Not what you're paying him for,
No.
but better than a number 5.
No. I would have let him start the 9th. I don't even remember who was leading. I think Trout was leading off, right? I think Trout led off.
It was Trout and they were worried about Trout and
Pujols.
Pujols.
So maybe that's
Ziegler's a ground ball pitcher.
Yeah, but maybe that's
Yes.
why lefty against a righty. They both have your next 2 hitters have power. It's
That's
a
why.
one-run game. Maybe that's why.
They wanted a guy that they couldn't go deep on.
Still, I would have let him start the 9th. I would have gone against a book. Now, I'm not going to kill Farrell for that because
No, it's a normal baseball decision.
9 out of 10 baseball managers do that every night.
It's a normal baseball
Right.
decision. I understand second
At
guessing.
the very worst, what he did made sense.
Yes, I'm not mad at Farrell for things like that. I mean, you can
All
pick
right.
on those all the time. I'm mad at Farrell for ones where it's just like, oh, golly gee, my pitcher just let up 9 runs, but it's only the 3rd. Let's keep him in. You know what I mean? Then the Red Sox scored 10 runs but lose 11 to 10 because he.
I can't bring in my bullpen because my bullpen's all burnt out.
Oh, what's the rule? 7th inning, right? No. Yeah, or his bullpen's completely destroyed because he decided to pitch people for fun.
I know.
One day he says, "Oh, I'm not bringing Buchholz in a game with 3 runs or less because they don't trust him." Is basically what he says.
Then he brings him in a
The
one.
next game, no, it was
What?
tied.
Was it a tie game?
Tie game.
I thought they were up a run.
No, it was the game with the crazy hurricane and all that stuff.
Oh,
it was a tie
right,
game.
right,
It wasn't
right.
Buchholz actually pitched decent. The outfield just sucked. But you know what? That's not the point. You just said the other night you weren't going to bring him in.
No rhyme or reason.
If I'm a player and you say I'm not going to bring you in when we're up 3 runs, I don't think I'm going in when we're tied because you don't trust me.
So I'm not gonna kill him for that decision. It made sense. If anything else, if nothing else. All right. You could, I guess, second guess Farrell here. Should Farrell have moved Shaw over to first in the 9th and put Aaron Hill at 3rd?
Aaron Hill should have pinch hit.
I agree, but should he have been playing 3rd in the 9th inning? Move Shaw over to first.
Probably.
Because Hanley really hasn't been that terrible at first.
I understand
And
that.
I'm sure, if they tied it in the 9th, he wanted his bat in the lineup.
Question for you though.
Go ahead.
You're up in the 9th inning.
Yep.
Okay.
1-0.
Yep.
Okay.
What do you do as the team that's pitching? What you want your best what out there?
You want your best defensive team up there.
Okay. Hanley's been fine. Is Shaw better?
Yes.
So that's what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Sox used to put him in Cavich all the time. Why?
He was better than Millar.
Defensively.
Yeah.
That's what you do. If you have the lead and it's the end of the game, I don't need Hanley to hit a home run in the
Who's-
10th inning if we're not going to the 10th inning.
That year, who was playing at second base in the 9th inning, 1-run lead? Pokey Reese.
Pokey Reese, I was going to say, is it Pokey?
And Bellhorn wasn't bad.
No, but Bellhorn's not a defensive player. Bellhorn walked like crazy, had greasy hair, and he got some really clutch hits. Okay? But Pokey Reese was a defender.
No, I'm talking defense. Bellhorn wasn't a bad
I am
second
too.
baseman.
So you have your offensive guy get you the lead, and you throw your defensive guy in.
You had late innings, Francona, that whole postseason, with the lead late. You had Billy Miller, Baratek at catching, obviously. Billy Miller at 3rd, Cabrera at short, Pokey Reese at 2nd,
And Mankiewicz.
Mankiewicz at 1st.
Because that's the best
Every
defensive team.
And
But that's what you do.
Nixon had the herniated disc problem at the end of that year, and Gabe Kapler was always in right field.
But that's what you do, because the whole point is, I don't have to hit in the 10th and hit a home run if I win in the 9th.
Mm-hmm.
It's the whole point of going for it on 4th and 2.
Mm-hmm.
If I already have the lead here, I just shut it down and I win.
Mm-hmm.
That's all they had to do.
So do you second guess Farrell for that? Should Aaron Hill have been playing 3rd?
Probably.
And move Shaw across the diamond?
Probably. Now, granted, that's not a huge thing, but probably.
Okay.
I mean, I'd grade him a C or a D, C minus for that, because you really should. I mean,
It wasn't an outrageous decision.
It's not outrageous.
to go with what he had.
it's not outrageous. I just think it's the wrong decision. I think if you had to do it 100 times, you should do it 95 out of 100. So it's the wrong decision, and it's not just because it didn't work. It's because you put your best defensive fielder in. That's what you do.
Yep.
It's that simple. It has nothing to do with outcomes, unfortunately, because you could pick the right thing to do. And then that's why the Ziegler one, it's more like it's a decision. Okay, I get it. I probably would have rolled with Price personally, but it's a decision that you can make.
All right. I do want to talk about this. Chris Sale
Okay.
and the White Sox seem to do this all the time, especially around the trade deadline. They made very public that they have a hard-on for Benintendi.
Yeah.
So if all it would take for the Red Sox to get Chris Sale, and again, if you've seen his contract, it's ridiculously reasonable. I think he's making like, what, $12 million a year?
I think it's 12, 13, 14 the next 3 years.
That's
This
a
year,
steal.
the next 2 years.
That's a steal.
That's absurd.
That's
for the
a steal.
type of pitcher he is?
Right.
I think Clay Buchholz makes like triple that.
I think Clay Buchholz might
Clay
have...
Buchholz makes $14 million a year, I think.
Yeah, and he's awful.
And he can't pitch.
Okay. So it's been... Would you put a package together for Chris Sale that was highlighted by Benintendi, and then had either... And I know what you're going to say for these, and you're right. Benintendi and Bogarts?
No.
Benintendi and Betts?
No.
Benintendi and Bradley?
No.
You wouldn't even do Bradley?
No.
Benintendi or Moncada?
No. No. Oh, let me explain something to you.
Any of those guys? There's no one.
If
you
you're
would-
taking
All right.
Benintendi, you're getting a decent veteran back, maybe, or a guy that can play in the bigs. Maybe I'll give you a pitcher, even though it's a crap pitcher like Buchholz or somebody else. Maybe a Kelly, okay? And then I'll give you another prospect or two that's a little bit lower level. But I'm not giving you a better prospect if Benintendi is the best, because I'm not giving you Benintendi and Moncada. Sorry, I'm not giving you Benintendi and one of the other guys that I would need Benintendi to replace. Now Xander is untouchable to me. Betts is probably this right up there with him. Bradley a little bit more expendable, even though I love the guy. But if I'm getting rid of Bradley, I'm going to want Benintendi to take his place because I need an outfielder.
Mhm.
I can't give you both.
No, I'm
I feel like you're weakening your team.
on the same page with you. I would actually include Moncada in the untouchable category for a couple of reasons.
Oh no, I wasn't. I was talking about players that are up.
No, I know that,
But-
but I would add him in the class of Bogarts and Betts untouchable, and I'll tell you why.
I'd trade you Pedroia. Bring Moncada up.
That's where I'm getting. That's where I'm getting at. Very good.
You want Benintendi, Pedroia, and Kelly? Done deal. And we'll give you another prospect to boot. And
Listen.
three bags of balls.
Moncada is switch hitting Robinson Cano. I think he's going to be really good. Kid's like, what, 19 years old?
He's rated like the best prospect in baseball right now.
He's your second baseman for the next decade, at least.
This is word that they're going to bring them both up. So
Pedroia
we'll see.
is 33 years old. He's had health issues the last 5 years.
He's injured every
be
year.
honest.
And I love him. Great, gutsy, plays hard, great defender.
He's on the back nine, right?
Yeah, he's
on the back
he's
nine.
on like 13 or 14.
Okay.
He's not at 18 yet. He's not walking to the clubhouse, but he's getting there. He's got to know it.
I don't know how you could possibly, for Chris Sale, even though it is Chris Sale, part with Bogarts and Moncada up the middle for the next decade. I don't know how you do it.
No.
You don't. You don't.
And all of those guys that we have that we're talking about, I can give you one of them, but I can't give you multiples of them.
Hell, if you're the Red Sox, give him Henry Owens.
Oh, I'm fine with that too. That's what I mean. You can take other prospects. You can because these are your two best prospects, really.
I would part with Benintendi.
That's fine.
You know why?
But then I'm giving you like Henry Owen and
You could part with Benintendi and just go out and sign Bryce Harper in
right.
free
You
agency.
can get Henry Owens, and then you can get again. I'll give you Benintendi, Henry Owens because I said prospect X. Okay, Pedroia, and Joe Kelly.
Done.
That's a good enough piece,
Done.
right?
Done.
Because you're getting a stud prospect.
Especially because the guy's like destroying uniforms in your club.
Right, you're getting a stud prospect. You're getting a pitcher who's got great stuff but hasn't ever been able to put it together. Kelly, really. You're getting a pitching prospect, and you're getting an all-star caliber player, even though he's old, in Pedroia. That's a decent haul.
Mm-hmm.
We'll even pay their salaries. Okay? Take them.
The Red Sox can do that.
Yeah, that's fine.
They did that with
That's a reasonable deal.
They paid some of
The problem is I think someone else is going to give them more than that.
They paid some of the tab for Crawford and Gonzalez when they.
If Sale
picked
moves,
down
someone else is going to give them more than that, and I don't want to give them.
I don't think the sale's coming here. I was just throwing.
Right,
out
I don't want to give up multiple big prospects or multiple. I'm not giving up. I'm not trading Bogarts and Betts or Bogarts and Bradley or Betts and Bradley or any of those combination with one of those Benintendi or Moncada. I'm not trading two of those guys for anybody unless I'm getting two great players back. I'm not even trading two of those guys for Trout. If you like, you can trade Benintendi and Betts for Trout. I'm like, no. No, because I have two guys that could be just as. They might not be as good, but they're going to be just a slight level below. But again, my opinion on this, and I've told you this the whole time, Betts and Bogarts are going to be top 10 MVP players for the next 5 to 10 years in the AL.
They are right now.
Right. And they're going to stay that way. I told you at the beginning of the season.
I'm like a way bigger Mookie guy than you.
Right. I'm a bigger Xander guy. You're a bigger Mookie guy. That's fine. Again, this is the conversation that we've had. Like, you really can't say one's better than the other. That's why I was pissed when everyone thought that Betts is way better. I'm like, you guys
I never said way better. I thought he was a little bit better.
Right, but a lot of people were saying way better in the beginning of the season.
I wouldn't say way better.
If you recall, I was like, you can't really declare. Like, I'm going to say I think Bogarts is going to be better, but they're really close.
Plus, too, and no one ever brings this up, and they should. They dick that kid around his first couple of years.
Bogarts.
You're a third baseman. No, you're a
That's what I said.
No, you're a third baseman again. Because we're going to bring back Steven.
The problem with Boston is
shortstop again.
We get really, really crazy where, like, someone goes on a hot tear and we're like, he's the greatest player ever. And the next month he sucks and we're like, get rid of Jackie Bradley. And I'm like, no. And Jackie Bradley's the third out of those guys. But even he's borderline untouchable because his defense is absolutely phenomenal. He's got a cannon.
He's got 16 home runs. I think he's second to Ortiz on the team in RBIs. He's second to Ortiz on the team in on-base percentage.
He could be throwing
triples.
He can catch a ball running out in center field, still going backwards, and throw the ball like home plate. The kid's absurd. His arm's an absolute joke.
I never saw Jimmy Pearsall or Dom DiMaggio or Tris Speaker, but I tell you, have they ever had a better defensive center field than this kid?
I don't know. Listen, I'm not saying he's the greatest defensive player ever.
And all respect to Darren Lewis, who was an excellent defensive center fielder, but
I'm not going to say he's the greatest defensive player ever or greatest center fielder ever, but he's one of the best I've ever seen. I don't think I can say that I can name one better for sure. And his arm is absolutely absurd.
Better defensive center fielders.
I mean, you going to say Torrey Hunter?
Hunter was excellent. Griffey, obviously. Jim Edmonds was very good. Excellent.
But are they really better than Jackie Bradley is?
I think he's right in the group with those guys.
Right. So it's one of those things where
I think he has a better arm than all of them.
I think he might have one of the best arms I've ever seen. Maybe the best. I don't know. It's so hard to tell.
Best outfield arm?
It's way up there. Dude, he can throw from center field to home plate like it's nothing.
I think that.
And I don't mean like the beginning of center field. I mean like warning track to home plate. Oh, got him.
I think the best outfield arm. Vlad Guerrero had a hell of an arm. Ichiro actually had a hell of an arm.
Ichiro's going for 3,000 right now.
He's got 2,998.
I hate how they act like he's the hit king because he has more hits than Pete Rose.
Well, it's like Pete Rose said, like, well, can I count my hits in high school? Like, that's not how this works.
Right.
It's major league hits.
Ichiro made a good point, though. He said, in America, when people think they're better than you, they cheer you on. Because 6 years ago, he wanted him to break his overall hit record. Pete Rose said he wanted Ichiro to break it. He's like, in America, people cheer you on when they know that they're better than you. But once you get as good as them, or it's close, they start to talk down about you. That's exactly true. That's why Jordan talks down about LeBron. Yes, people in America, athletes particularly, especially in basketball.
Yeah, but Pete Rose is right. You can't get...
I agree with him. But what I'm saying is, once you get threatened by someone else's greatness, then you start talking down about that player.
Unless you're Bird, who like praises everybody.
Oh, that's because Larry Bird knows, like, I'm one of the goats. Like, leave me alone. I'm gonna go friggin' drink a beer and go do
my driveway.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say, go do a driveway and put some tar down and grab a beer. How much is that beer? Oh, that's too expensive. 5 cents? Can't buy that. It's like, Larry, you're a millionaire, bro.
Poor Larry. He's so tight he squeaks. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I mean, I was just throwing a couple of scenarios out there. I don't think Sale's coming here. I think everything I've heard is that the Indians are going to make a real hard push for him.
Oh, they have an incredible rotation with him.
But that would give them Sale, Salazar, Carrasco, and
right.
Kluber.
They'd have an incredible. They'd be the favorites to win the AL.
And they have a manager who knows what he's doing. Why can't the Red Sox get managers like that?
I don't want to talk about it.
I don't either. I'm still upset about it 5 years later.
That's why I don't believe that the Bruins should fire Claude.
I'm glad that Claude. I'm glad you come back.
What's going to happen is the Bruins are going to fire him at some point because all these fans, and then for the next 10 years we're going to be like, why can't we get that guy? And we're going to have guys that are way worse.
Yeah, when Claude
can't coach as well.
When Claude's winning Stanley Cups,
right?
Else.
And people are going to be like, why don't we have? Because you guys want to get rid of a B plus, almost A- manager or coach to get a guy that's not as good. Like you have to. I mean, it never comes up with Belichick, but you have, again, there's no vacuum here. You have to replace somebody. Mm-hmm. And it's not as easy to replace players.
That's the thing.
Because there's not as many coaches and managers at that level.
I felt 5 years ago, anyone that comes in after Francona is going to be a step down. Now, I know Farrell won a World Series.
And we're not even talking about Bobby V.
No, right. When Bill retires, anyone else is going to be a step down.
Yep.
Okay? I'm not getting into the doctor this thing. I don't have the energy tonight.
All right, no energy on Doc.
By the way,
I was waiting for you to go there too.
Hey, Doc won a title.
I was like 4 kings before rings, baby.
Listen,
we all got rings.
Doc's won a title. Brad hasn't even won a playoff series yet, so I can't say that.
Yeah.
Now, he hasn't had the players Rivers had.
Oh,
but still.
No doubt.
By the way, Martellus Bennett
is a beast.
This dude's hilarious.
Oh, he's one of the funniest dudes ever.
They're asking,
he's so weird, though. He's so weird. He's so out there.
He just seems like
him and Gronk probably just run around doing like weird stuff all day.
Do you think Bill's going to get tired of his act?
I almost think that Gronk is more mature than Martellus Bennett. Think of that for a moment.
Look at Martellus Bennett and his chemistry with quarterbacks. I've dated 2 girls at the same time before.
Did you see his basement? He had his crazy basement?
I didn't see the basement.
Oh my god, he wrote a children's book, which is supposed to actually be a really good book, I think. The dude's he's out there. He's a weirdo. He's one of the weirdest.
No, which I like that, but how long is... I mean, if he plays well, then Bill's going to tolerate it because he'll have to.
Well, he let Junior Seau talk. He let certain players talk.
That was Junior Seau.
Well, I'm not saying Martellus Bennett is Junior Seau.
Junior Seau, top 5 linebacker ever, probably.
Yeah, probably.
No, 5. I'm talking 5.
I know. I agree.
Not LT, not Ray Lewis.
LT and Ray Lewis are probably top 2.
They're 1 and 2. But Junior Seau in the next 3, yeah, probably.
Put it this way, he's
rest in peace.
Probably ahead of Urlacher, and Urlacher's probably a top 10-ish.
Junior was better than Urlacher.
That's what I'm saying. So,
I mean, then you got the guy, you got Dick Butkus. You could say he was like 3 or 4, like right in that group. I mean, because you gotta
start going to the guys way back, the '60s and such.
But yeah, Bill's not happy with the media already. So
Bill's never happy with the media.
I understand, but
Bill's not happy with us, and he doesn't listen to our show.
Oh, he would love.
He's like Chris and Cash show. Those guys, no idea what they're talking about. Jesus Christ! Next question.
I'm trying to find that clip, and my phone.
It was hilarious today. An outsider, apparently, a guy that I think works in like Concord, New Hampshire, like for the Concord Post or something weird.
Yep.
Asked Bill about him coming out and saying that Tom Brady was going to be the starter.
Right, I'm going to get the clip in a second.
Which is true. Bill never says stuff like that. But again, he knows right now. I have a question for you right now.
He just wants to survive the first 4 weeks with Jimmy.
No matter how well Garoppolo plays. Garoppolo, as his apparent name is apparently pronounced.
No, it's Garoppolo.
No, they've been saying it's Garoppolo.
No, it's Garoppolo.
Just letting you know.
I'm not LaCasilla. I'm LaCasha.
Jimmy the G, okay?
Oh, man.
Jimmy the G.
You can't say that on the air.
No, can't say that on the air. But Jimmy the G, all right?
Actually, I'm Italian, so I can.
Okay, but regardless.
I'll say it.
Tom Brady's a thick Mick. But Jimmy the G, okay?
I could say that, too.
Yeah, you best of both worlds. But Jimmy the G, all right?
Yeah.
No matter how well he plays, can you ever imagine him dethroning Tom Brady?
Tom Brady's going to be a starter in Cleveland.
He's not even going to de-seed him. He'd have to dethrone him. Tom Brady's the GOAT. This isn't Tom Brady versus Bledsoe, who is sucking. This is a guy who's at the top of his profession, who's possibly the greatest quarterback last year in the league. I know that Cam Newton won the MVP and all that good jazz.
He was better than Newton.
He was better the entire minus September the year before, correct? From October on, he was the best quarterback.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, that first month counted.
Oh, yeah, I'm not saying
and Rodgers won the MVP.
Yeah. Listen.
And Rodgers should have won that MVP.
Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback in the past 10 years. 07 to 2016, greatest quarterback. Want to go 06 to 15, 16 on the side yet? Greatest quarterback. There's not a quarterback better than that time period.
Peyton will win the MVP this year.
Oh, Peyton already won the MVP.
Even though he's out of the league.
Like a 6-time award winner, Peyton Manning. But then Bill will be like, awards are for losers. It's funny, though. Bill says stats are for losers, but when it comes down to it, he pushes for his guys to get stats. Like when he wanted Gronk to break that record, he helped Gronk break the record. He definitely wanted Brady and Randy to break the records. He let Flutie drop kick it.
He was going.
He's let a lot of guys chase a lot of records.
He's a historian, so the Flutie thing kind of like made sense. It hadn't been done since like 1941 or whatever.
Oh, that was just him rubbing it in. Like, I'm cooler than you. I know something. Boom, watch. Ha.
Yeah, but like, Saban was his friend too, so like I was kind of surprised at that one.
I don't think he does it to rub it into people though. The Philly game last year was crazy.
Some people do. I'm still wondering what poor Joe Gibbs did to him. In 07, when he was up 52-0 in like the third or whatever.
Listen, but if you look at a lot of those games, they could have scored more points than they did. I know it was FU touchdown here and there, but then he was like,
You're
all right.
talking about 07?
Yeah. They'd be up like 40-0 in the first half, and they'd be like, all right, let's just go 20 more.
They never really took the foot off the gas that whole year.
A couple times, I'm telling you. If we go through the games, look at the fourth quarter scoring. It's not like the first and second.
And we're not gonna get into this because we talked about it a million times. Chris and I disagree. I think the 04 Pats are the best team they had. He says 07. I think 07's the second best team they had.
Let me explain something to you. This past Golden State team, better than the year before, even though they didn't win a championship. Better team. Sorry. Better team. Championships are nice, and that's what you play for, and they are ultimately the thing that really matters. That doesn't make you the best team just because you won one. 01 Pats, how good are they?
Huh?
01 Pats.
They weren't better than the 07 team.
The 01 Pats aren't a top 10 Patriots team in the last 15 years.
Probably not. By the way, here's Bill's press conference from earlier. Taking the Lord's name in vain. Take it away. Why isn't
start when he's eligible? Can you think of an occasion when you debuted 5-starter in July?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because what happens if Jimmy plays better?
Look, I told you what's going to happen.
So there's this.
Jesus Christ.
So Bill clearly annoyed there, and I've said before.
Do you blame him though?
No, because you know
Even
what?
again,
Well, he's already. I don't blame him.
so Jimmy the G goes out and they're 4-0. By the way, and I already talked to my cousin Tom about this last night. If they're 4-0 after 4 games with Jimmy the G, they're probably winning at least 14, 15 games. Because that means that the defense is playing phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to go beat
I don't think
Arizona
it's
on the
out of the
road.
question.
No. I think, listen.
On paper, this defense is really.
I feel like they're going 2-2.
I think they're going 3.
The Jets are better than people want to say.
They don't play the Jets.
No, I'm talking about for the season though. The Jets are better than people want to say. There's a lot of teams that are going to be right down their throats. I don't think they're going to win more than 11 games.
I think they're going to go.
Games.
I think they're going to go 3-1 the first 4 games, because I think at least on paper, this defense is really, really good.
Then you're going to tell me they have 3 home games.
They do. They're better at home.
I get that, Scotty.
How many games do they lose in Foxborough? They might drop 1 a year.
But it's Jimmy G. It's different.
It is different.
How bad is Miami?
They have a lot of talent, but
How bad is Houston?
They have a lot of talent, but they never put it together. Houston's a good team. You're not
How bad is Buffalo?
Not going to have Watt that game.
You can't. How bad? I understand. How bad is Buffalo?
Buffalo never wins up here ever.
You don't think any of those teams can win?
They could. I don't.
Because I'm thinking you're going to lose in Arizona.
They could. I don't think they're going to. I agree with you.
I think they're going to drop another game.
They're 5.5 dogs right now in Arizona. You know that?
Yeah, they were favored before. With Brady, they were favored.
I don't. No.
They were favored by half a point with Brady.
Wasn't it a push?
No, it was half a point.
It was half a point.
So literally, Brady's worth 6 points. How much is Tom Brady worth?
Listen,
6 points.
They could win that game. I don't think they're going to, but they could.
Telling you, and this is
Think
why
Arizona-
This is
I
why
think
I'm happy that
Arizona's a
JJ
little
Watt's not
overrated.
going to be there, because I told you JJ Watt was going to destroy Jimmy G. That defense is going to destroy Jimmy G. They're going to destroy him. You're going to be like, wow, I can't believe I thought this kid was going to take over someday. You're going to be.
You haven't even considered the option that he might be really good. We don't know. We got to see him with the.
No, I've considered the option.
Anytime, listen.
That Arizona's a very good team.
Listen,
it's on the road. It's his first game of his career starting.
I think they'll lose in that game.
I think they're going to get stomped.
They'll lose. I don't think they're going
They're going to lose by at least 10 points.
I don't think so.
I'll make a 20-wing bet on it.
Listen to me.
20-wing bet.
Listen, hold on. Garoppolo, shut up. Garoppolo has never played with Gronk, Amendola, Edelman, Bennett, Lewis, all these guys. Let's see how he does. Let's see what he does with a full complement of offensive weapons.
10-point. 10-point bet.
I'm not going to make that bet.
Why? They're going to lose by more than 10.
No,
10 or more.
It's a crapshoot because he could be terrible and they lose by 20.
Right.
I'm not making that
I'm
bet.
telling you right now, that's what's maybe not 20, but that's what's going to happen.
Listen, I think they're going to lose. Losing by 10 is completely plausible, especially on the road. So I'm not making that bet. Why would I make that bet?
27-14. They're going to lose.
See, I don't think they're going to give up.
Mark it down.
I don't think they're going to give up 27 points.
27-14.
I think on paper this is their best defense in so far.
Ah.
Maybe like 06, like that area.
Yeah.
Look, this is their best D in a while.
They had a really good D last year.
I think this D is better.
Based on what?
I just think it's better. I think Collins and Hightower are going to be better. I think Butler's going to be better. I think Logan Ryan's going to be better.
You lost Chandler Jones.
I would.
I mean, you're gonna tell me Shane McClellan's better than Chandler Jones?
No, but I wasn't.
What do you think? Sherrod's gonna be better?
Could be.
Malcolm Brown's gonna be better. Chung's gonna be better. They're all gonna be better. What about the defense that just won a Super Bowl a couple years ago? That was a pretty good defense.
The team had Revis.
Revis, Browner.
Butler, you called that, by the way. Butler right now might be better than Revis was.
I told you that was gonna happen.
Yeah.
I told you. Listen, I speak the truth before it happens on these airwaves. Just mark things down. I'm not always right, obviously. No one's always right. But I'm like the Nostradamus.
you're
of
always
this.
right.
No, I'm like the Nostradamus. Like, a lot of it you're going to be like, I have no idea what you're saying here. Clearly wrong. A lot of it you're going to be like, wow, that did happen. Maybe he did predict that. Told you the Red Sox are going to win the World Series.
He did, I have proof. Yeah,
I have a bunch of proof of things that like I predicted way before they happened. And it's like, boom.
Do you know what's funny?
Granted, I predicted a lot of stuff,
you said in July the Red Sox are going to, of that year, this is 2013, the Red Sox are going to win the World Series. Do you remember who I said was going to win the World Series?
No.
At that same time?
Cardinals.
I said the Cardinals.
I just remember that, but you guys laughed at me, and I was like, no, I'm legitimately serious. This is the reason why the Red Sox are going to win.
I didn't laugh at you.
It took a long time for people to stop believing me.
I believed you after they beat Detroit like 20-0 in like one of those games.
I told you guys. I told you.
I thought the Cardinals were the best
Farrell
team.
tried to ruin it, but I told you.
I thought the Cardinals were the best team, and because of Farrell, they were this close to going up 3-1.
Yeah.
Gomes hit the home run in Game 4.
I don't understand Johnny Gomes playing. I love that he made them to have a press conference with him where he got to talk about how awesome he was towards winning.
Kenny Rosenthal,
Yeah.
I remember.
You basically have to have me. I don't care about war. I'm someone you want to go to war with. I'm like,
Yeah, they got the whole war
I'm
stat.
like, is this dude serious? Like,
Yeah, he was
he's just pitching how good a winner he is?
he was kind of a tool. Let's be
He is a
honest.
tool.
But-
Oh, completely.
But
What can you do about it, though? But who's your top 5 quarterbacks this year? Top 5. Who do you think they're going to be?
does that I can include Brady even though that he's missing 4
You
games?
can include Brady, and you kind of prorate his season. Like, you don't dock him for not playing 4 games.
My top 5 quarterback. Do they have to be in order?
No.
Just top 5.
I don't know. Any order. I'm going to give you the list of quarterbacks. Not that you don't know them, but
Yeah, give me the list anyway.
just some passing yards from last year. We're running ESPN again. I generally boycott ESPN, but considering they're the easiest source to look stuff up a lot of times, kind of catch-22 there.
All right, I got to give you my top
Top 5 quarterbacks. Write them down, too.
All right,
We'll
I'll write mine
save
down.
these things. Yeah, write them on one side of your top 5. You can say them as you write them down.
Okay.
Again, it's not in order, so.
I got Aaron Rodgers.
All right.
Got Tom Brady.
All right.
I got Russell Wilson.
Okay.
And I just want to take a peek.
That's fine.
Take Big Ben.
Okay.
And I almost, and I know Cam Newton won the MVP, and I'm not gonna have him in my top 5. I think he's overrated. I'm tempted to take Derek Carr because I really like that kid.
Take whoever you want. It's your top 5.
But Drew Brees, he's inside. He's still playing in a dome. He still threw for almost 5,000 yards. Last year, I'll take Brees. And I'm going to do an honorable mention.
That's fine. I'm going to too, so.
Derek Carr is my honorable mention from the Raiders.
All right, so Scotty goes with no particular order, but top 5, Rodgers, Brady, Russell Wilson, Roethlisberger, Breeze, Derek Carr's an honorable mention. I'm going to agree with you on the top 2, so Rodgers and Brady. Again, not necessarily in that order, top 2. Got Rodgers and Brady. Okay? I'm going to go with Roethlisberger.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
That's fine.
I'm also going to go with Russell Wilson.
Okay.
Now, my next 2 are going to be different than you. My
That's fine.
5th. I'm going to go with Blake Bortles.
He's a good quarterback.
Yeah, that's a little bit.
By the way, they could surprise some people, and by surprise,
I think they're going to win that division.
I don't think they're going to win the division.
I think they might.
Because I think Indy is still really good, but I don't think. I'm thinking like an 8-8, 9-7 season.
I'm thinking 10
steps.
wins.
Baby steps.
I'm thinking 10 wins. Honestly. I think the Jags are going to win 10. We're going to put that next to Blake Bortles. 10. All right?
You taking Luck as your honorable mention?
Nope. Honorable mention?
No.
Carson Palmer.
Yeah, they're a good team.
I know that I have Cam Newton's not there. Drew Brees isn't in there. Philip Rivers. Luck. A lot of players not there, but that's... We've talked about this before. Quarterback position's stacked.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the quarterback position, you go, wow, how are they going to decide Hall of Famers in the future?
By the way, it's no secret that Green Bay, the Patriots, the Steelers, the Seahawks, all those teams.
Super Bowl contenders.
Yep.
All right? I'm sitting here tell you right now, there is no team in the AFC close to the Patriots talent-wise.
Top to bottom, they have the best roster.
The only thing that's keeping these other teams even in the hunt is the fact that Brady's suspended for 4 games. Because then they might not get the 1 seed. If Brady's not suspended, and I've heard that the NFL owners is apparently still super against Patriots and super trying to take us down. That's what this is. The whole thing has been a power play to take the Patriots down.
Mm-hmm.
If Brady was healthy,
That's still not going to work.
they would walk to the 1 seed. Walk. They'd win 13 games, 12 games. That would be the low end. Might win 14, but they would walk to the number 1 seed.
Mm-hmm.
Literally because Brady, that could cost them 1 or 2 games. I don't think they're going to go 1 and 3, but you never know.
Listen, I think they're going to go 3-1. They
I
could go 2-2.
I think 2 and 2.
They could go. Listen, they could go 2-2. I think they're going to go 3-1, and I think if they do go 3-1, even if Brady is rusty the first couple of games, I think they're going to get the 1 seed. And again, this always assumes health because you can't predict health.
I don't though.
They won 2 years ago. Why? They probably had the best talent, but why'd they win?
Tom Brady's awesome.
No, really, why'd they win?
Defense.
They had no
Tom
injuries.
Brady.
They had no significant injuries 2 years
Of
ago.
course. Well, that's.
The healthiest and hottest team in January is usually the team that wins it.
I've told you many times that the best team never wins in football. Well, not never, but
Yeah, they were the best team 2 years ago, I thought.
they were up there.
Either them or Seattle.
Arguably, Green
Either
Bay.
them or Seattle.
Green Bay.
Green Bay had Seattle beating that game. That's still one of the all-time meltdowns
Yeah. So
that I've seen. What do you think that guy's doing? The what the hell?
Rodgers?
Was his name? No, the tight end.
Rodgers.
No, the tight
Is his
end.
name Rodgers?
I don't think no. The tight end who botched the friggin'
I thought his name was
onside
Rodgers.
kick. I don't think it was. Oh, that's gonna drive me nuts. Look that up.
I'm gonna look it up right now.
Why can't I think of that? Look it up.
Brandon Bostic.
Bostic. That's who it was. I wonder what he's doing now.
Probably killed himself. Hate to
Oh,
say it.
that's not funny. Come on.
It's not funny, but what do you want me to do? I mean,
I don't know. You gotta pull a Donnie Moore on that one. The guy who actually was it Clinton Dix?
haha.
Was it Clinton Dix who picked off Wilson and then had probably an extra 10 or 15 yards and then just went down?
But that was a smart play to do.
I would have gone for the extra
No,
yardage.
literally, go down.
And
waste the clock.
I understand that he thinks like, okay, the game's over. I can just go down.
No, that's the play you would want. You got to do most of the time.
The other thing too is people don't remember.
Do you realize like 90 things happened for them to win that game?
I know. Beast Mode walked in for the touchdown to make it. Did that? No,
They were down 2.
No, that put them up 1. And then they did the 2-point conversion. Russell Wilson got flushed out. If you can
He
remember,
threw a pass.
across his body a rainbow.
Dude, it was lollipop.
I could have
And
knocked
half
that down.
Deck should have intercepted it, and somebody else should
No,
have too.
at least knocked it down.
But they both like sat there and froze.
at least knocked it down.
I don't know what to tell you. That's what I'm telling you. When I sit here and say that, there's no way. There was like 100 things that went wrong.
And that's a big play because if you can remember, even though Rodgers couldn't walk and couldn't run, they went and kicked a field goal to tie the game and send it to OT. So that 2-point conversion doesn't come to fruition. Green Bay kicks a field goal, they win the Super Bowl. They win the NFC Championship, and they could have won the Super Bowl.
Would have been close. What did I tell you about that?
You know what though? Even though he was injured,
What did I tell you about that?
that would have scared the hell out of me having to.
What
play
did I tell you about
Rodgers
that? I
in
told
Super
you.
Bowl.
I said Seattle's probably a better team, but Rodgers scares me more.
Scared the hell out.
I wasn't worried about Seattle. I told you that. I was like, this is a team I want to face.
I was texting you the whole game, and I was like, dude, because you knew that they were going to beat Indy that night. That was a joke. That was like a tune-up.
I knew they were going to beat Indy after like the first half of the first quarter.
When I found out we were playing Indy instead of Denver, I was telling everybody we're in the Super Bowl.
God, he's like, we are the champions, my friend.
Listen to me. I don't think I was ever more sure of a game in my life that they were going to beat Indy that night. Indy didn't have a chance. So I was texting you that whole game like, oh, crap. Like, we got to play Rodgers.
I know. Well, but I was like, yeah, Rodgers. That's the one I'm afraid of. Rodgers.
And he would have 2 weeks to heal up. I mean, I think his cap was partially torn, but still.
Unbelievable, though. Unbelievable the things you see in football sometimes.
You got anything else? You got anything else you want to touch on?
Check the scoreboard real quick, see if the Orioles lost.
They're down a run.
Down 5-6 in the top of the 8th, 2 outs.
They stink. They are so bad.
Yeah. Still in first place.
Barely.
Again, though, the AL East is the best division in baseball.
Listen. When we do this show next week,
AL East is the best division in baseball.
The Orioles will not be in first place.
That's fine. The AL East is the best division in baseball.
You say so. It's pretty.
We got 4 teams above 500.
But how can you say that when the top 3 teams in your division, Baltimore, Toronto, and Boston, every team, the pitching stinks.
And their offenses are crazy.
The Orioles' offense is very, very inconsistent.
Yeah, but
they're not scoring runs right now.
Look at this. Look at this. See all that? They all have positive differentials. 32, 76, and 81. The Yankees are still above 500. Tell them right now. It's the best division in baseball. Sorry, it is. It's the best division in baseball.
The Pirates are better than 52 and 48, too.
They should be. But
they have a ton of talent.
Best division in baseball. I'm telling you.
Make the argument.
I'm not making the argument, I'm telling you. But yeah, I'm still holding that the Patriots are going to win between 10 and 12 games. I know you think that's absurd.
I think 10's too low. I think anywhere between, I would say either, I think they're going to win at least, worst case scenario I'm saying, I think they're going to win at least 11.
Scotty, I think they're going to win 2 games out of the first, win 2 and lose 2 out of their first 4, probably.
Okay.
I think they could.
You think it's going to take Brady about 3 weeks to get his groove back?
Probably. I think they could lose to Seattle.
Listen, I'm going to that game. I'm so stoked, by the way.
I think they could lose to Seattle. I think they could possibly lose to Pittsburgh.
Well, it's at Pittsburgh.
That's 4.
Brady owns them, though.
I know, they're probably going to score 100 more.
All right, the Rooney family does not own Heinz Field. Tom Brady does.
Yeah, they should just give him the team. Can you be a player and an owner at the same time? Honestly, though, you can sit here and say that you disagree, but I can easily find 6 losses in the schedule. There's always losses.
I can't find 6.
They're not going to lose 1 division game. The Jets are better than people think. That's what I'm trying to tell you earlier.
They'll lose.
They're probably going to split with the Jets.
They'll lose 1 division game.
They're going to lose in the Meadowlands. They'll split with the Jets.
And they finished the season. They finished the season at Miami, so it depends on what they're playing for then.
But they're gonna lose to the Jets in 1 game. Jets are pretty talented.
Yeah, we just gotta wait and see.
Yeah, people always say that the AFC East is like this giant cakewalk, but how often do the Patriots go undefeated in the division?
I think they've done it like twice.
Don't they always almost lose a game? Yeah.
Between Miami and the Jets, they usually sweep Buffalo, but between the Miami and the Jets, they usually drop. They usually lose in Miami.
We don't count Buffalo because Brady was like 26-2 against Buffalo for his career or something like that. The point is
one of the losses was the end of the season, and they just let Garoppolo play the whole second half. Technically, it gets stopped against Brady. But
last year, they were 12-4. They were 4-2 in the division. So outside the division, they were 8-2.
Well, they were 4-0 before the last 2 weeks.
I understand that, but you know and I know, they always lose some divisional games. Year before that, 2014, 4-2 in the division. Okay?
They haven't won it. Listen, they lose in Miami.
Year before that, 2013, 4-2 in the division. Year before that, 2012, 6-0 in the division. So it doesn't happen often, but it does happen. By the way, that 2012 team, absolutely stacked. I still think about it all the time, like how that team is one of the better Patriots teams they probably should have made and won a Super Bowl.
Well, if they had Gronk, Hernandez, and Welker all healthy, they probably would have. Because I think they would have beaten Baltimore if they had Gronk in that game. But, you know,
legitimately, though.
Injuries happen.
Well, I know they do.
Did they think about it? The first Super Bowl loss to the Giants?
2011, 5-1 in the division.
Listen, That Buffalo loss was a fluke, though. They had like a 40.
2010, 14-2, 5-1 in the division.
How long are you going to go back?
I'm just telling you.
You've made your point.
So they're going to drop a game to
I
the
just
Jets.
agreed with you.
They're going to drop a game.
I just agreed with you. They'll
So,
lose at least one division game.
One divisional game.
At least one.
We'll say two games out of the Garoppolo games.
Split with Arizona and Seattle, to be fair. They'll split that one.
Maybe they'll lose to Arizona, maybe they'll lose to Seattle. Maybe they'll lose to Denver. I don't think so. But
They'll split those two.
I think they're going to kick the shit out of Denver.
Oh, Woody's not going to be happy with
They're
you.
going to
man.
just be pissed and kill Denver.
Woody's not going to be happy with you.
I'm sorry. When your quarterback is Mark Sanchez, all I picture is him running into the alignment and dropping the ball.
It's like I told Chris the other day. Technically, Sanchez is an upgrade over Manning. Unless you're buying into the whole, like...
Well, I'm an upgrade over Manning, so yes.
Unless you're buying into the whole, like, yeah, but Peyton Manning, like, he had the checkdowns and he knew when to run and when to... No.
You could say Omaha with the best of them. Yeah, Peyton Manning was the worst quarterback in football. That was an anomaly. Not that I thought that their Super Bowl win was a fluke because the defense was stacked. It was an anomaly that they were able to carry the worst quarterback to such a great record into the championship.
And not only that, they were so one-dimensional because the running game almost became a non-factor because they stacked the box and dared Manning to throw, and he couldn't do it. The only time that he threw passes more than 5 yards is when he would throw a bubble screen and he would run for 15 yards. That's the only way he got yardage.
I can't.
How would Denver have looked last year had they not benched Manning after that game where he had, I think, 5 completions and 4 picks?
Scotty, he had a 0 quarterback rating. That's
That game.
hard. That's really hard to do. It is. I think he's the only man to have a perfect and a 0 quarterback rating.
Listen, the way
game.
that way that defense was playing, I think if they never gave Manning the job back and stuck with Osweiler, they still could have won the Super Bowl.
Oh, they would have. I'm completely
They still
convinced.
could have.
I'm just saying that. So yes, it's an upgrade, but that defense isn't as good this year.
Well,
They lost a
I
few
don't-
pieces.
They lost a few pieces, but I don't think. What are the chances of them playing at that level again?
It's hard. It's hard.
What they did for like the last month of the season was historic. They weren't giving up first
But they
downs.
did remember, I mean, it was Cleveland, so we knew Cleveland was going to win. But, was going to lose, excuse me. But Cleveland had that game won. And then Denver just destroyed them.
Oh, Kansas City was up
Kansas City should
a
have won.
touchdown with less than a minute left.
Kansas City probably should have beat them every time they played.
But they were 1-1.
Right. That's what I'm saying. They literally should have beat them every time they played.
Mhm.
But why did they win a game?
It was a fluke.
But
The game against Baltimore, they went 12-4, and they easily should have gone like 9-7.
8-8, 9-7, yeah.
Yeah.
They should have had it. But it was the defense's
The defense won like 4
high
games.
level of play. Right.
Yes.
That just, they stole games from people. Like, literally, you were like, oh, this game's over. Then Denver's defense was like, sack,
Strip
interception,
sack.
touchdown!
Right.
And Peyton's just like, yes, I don't have to do anything.
No, but the funny thing is they give Peyton all the credit after the fact.
Well, Peyton won a Super Bowl. I'm like, Peyton Manning's QBR was 45. That's his QBR. So,
By the way, give Chris a lot of credit for at least acknowledging, like, yeah, he was terrible. They won in spite of him. Because not a lot of Broncos fans say that.
no.
No, Broncos fans are delusional. They're just like, oh, Peyton did it. Like, no.
I give
he
him
really
a ton of
didn't.
credit because when we
He
talked
really
last year, he was like, no, take him out and put Osweiler in. Listen, I hate
Yep.
to say this, but if Brady was ever that bad and Jimmy G was better, I'd be like, put Jimmy G in.
You got to. You
I'd
play
be upset.
to win the game.
That's why you put your best defensive players in the ninth if you're up a run. You play to win
Oh.
the game. Practice? Talking about practice. Playoffs? You play to win the game.
Speaking of that Iverson press conference, the funniest part of that press conference that always gets overlooked, it was at the very end. Iverson goes, how the hell am I going to make my teammates better by practicing?
Well, to be true, to be fair to him, to be fair to a lot of the rants, like, it makes sense in the context of what they were talking about. Like,
Yeah, I guess.
he was ranting about practice, but they were telling him, like, oh, do you think you can make your teammates better? It's like, no. Me practicing against them, he didn't believe made them better. Not to the extent other people would believe. That's all he was trying to say.
Mhm.
So he was like, practice? And people were like, oh, he doesn't even like practicing. It's like, no, he's just saying that he can't help his teammates. Like, he's not going to make him Michael Jordan by practicing with him. That's not how it works.
No.
That was his, like, gist of what I'm saying. Like, no. I can practice with them all day. They're only going to get so much better by practicing with me. I digress.
You got anything else?
Yeah, since we missed it last week, even though we did it last week, R.I.P. Denny Green.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we thought they were. We let him off the hook. Oh, we thought they were. That was awesome. One of the greatest blow-ups ever.
Yeah, pretty good.
Again, that goes with the playoffs and the practice and all those, like, you will hear those ones forever. Those press conferences will live in infamy.
Mm-hmm.
They're all notorious. Other than that, I don't got much else to speak about.
Yeah, I think we'll call it a wrap until next week. Be sure to check us out on gamesofinches.com.
www.gamesofinches.com.
And check us out on YouTube. We, with very few exceptions, we do this one every Friday night.
Chris and Cash Show.
Chris and Cash Podcast. Go to YouTube and check us out. Hopefully we'll be on SoundCloud soon. We will see you next Friday night. Have a good one.
Be safe.